How can you get the most value out of your user research interviews? Hello, softwarepreneurs, and welcome back to Swattage, the Software Innovation Lab. If you're new here, my name is Dale Richards. I'm a software innovator from Salt Lake City, Utah, and I love making software that changes the world. I'm building a SaaS product from concept to cash, and I'm taking you with me for the ride. If you want to change the world, build apps, grow your SaaS business, and make money doing cool software entrepreneur-related stuff, start now by subscribing and hitting the bell. The previous videos that we shared here on the channel are the full-length interviews with Chandra Christiansen and Holly Peterson from the Mountainland Technical College, or MTech. And what we're going to do today is we're going to talk about the specific takeaways that we took from those interviews. So, if you recall, we're talking about an app that we can use to get kids out of technical colleges, so basically trade schools, and into the workplace. And I went into these interviews with some specific assumptions, and that was that there is some kind of need or pain point of getting these graduates into full-time employment. Also, I had the assumption that this college is trying to collect feedback from the employers of these students to figure out, well, how are they doing in the workplace? How successful are they being? Did they learn the right skills, and do they have enough tools in their toolbox? So here are the customer jobs from our value proposition canvas that I assumed going into these interviews. So as an administrator or an instructor for a dental assistant course at a trade school, the things that I want to do in an app are I want to be able to recruit employers, place students in internships, track students' success in their internships, get the intern employer feedback, place students in permanent employment, track student success in employment, and then report the success rates to the state and obtain some funding. Well, actually, what I discovered is that it's not quite like that. The first thing is that the college really is not responsible to get the students placed in a specific employer's office. So for example, if you're the dental assistant student, the college is not going to find you a dental office where you're going to basically conduct your internship or your externship, as they call it. That's really on you. But at the same time, almost all the students, when they complete their externship with a specific dental practice, they usually get full-time work at that dental practice. It's not that common for these dental students to do their internship in one place and then go somewhere else to work. So this exercise that the students go through to find their own externship site really is a crucial moment, a crucial transaction for them in the course of completing their requirements for their school, because it's also them finding their future place of employment. Here's what Chandra Christiansen said about that.
So we do have some doctors in the Valley that we get in touch with, but we have our students do that themselves. It gives them the opportunity to look for a job and get that practice.
How many of them are being placed with the office where they externed? And how many of them are looking somewhere else?
So this year it's been different because of COVID, and a lot of the offices were closed, and so a lot of them were having a really hard time getting into the office in the first place. But I was really surprised because I have 23 students, and not all of them are finished. I have about 8 who are totally done with all 270 hours, and 7 of them got hired. Only 1 didn't. So, and the only reason why the 1 didn't was because she was moving down south and she couldn't stay and get hired. So it's great percentage. I was really surprised because I thought that it wouldn't be that great this year.
They were hired specifically with the same
that they did their externship.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
All right. So really the point of selection or matchmaking that happens, even regarding full-time placement, usually happens at the beginning of the externship.
It usually does. Okay. Yes. Yep.
That's a really critical transaction then. It's for the students to find the right externship, because it likely will be when they're going to be working full-time.
Yeah.
Another one of the assumptions that I went in with was that the technical college, one of their pain points is gathering feedback from all these employers. Well, it really isn't that big of a pain point. And the reason why is because they can just send out a SurveyMonkey survey and then get data back. Okay, next one. Getting feedback from employers is time consuming. Yes, no?
Not so much, because when we send out, we just send out to the place, we send out an email to the places that we have listed. Sometimes it might take a little while for program assistants to go through and get an email for the business, because we send everything out electronically. But Yeah, that is not terrible.
Okay.
The hardest part is getting the information from the student to know where they're employed.
But something happened, though, in the interview with Chandra. As I asked her about the tools that she was using, and also as I asked her about the specific documents that she needed to collect and manage, I discovered that there was an amazing opportunity to solve a big pain point, and that was the requirement to get the dental practice to sign off on the hours that the dental assistant student had worked in their practice. Okay, so they have a chart. This
Yes.
is like a paper file?
So the one to do their hours? Is that what you're talking
I'm not
about?
sure. So they fill out the side information.
Okay, yeah. Fill out
Take
the
it, you file that electronically? Or
No, it's in a file right now.
in a folder.
Uh-huh.
Okay, and it goes on in a filing cabinet somewhere.
Yes.
In a stack of drawers. Okay.
Yes.
And then you were saying that they track like their hours in a spreadsheet?
Yes.
So
And
they're
then-
keeping track of the hours in a spreadsheet, and they have to share the spreadsheet with you?
Yes.
And what do you do with that data? You have to check to see if they're going to finish their hours on time?
Yes. And then I double check and make sure that those are actually being done. So I call the office and just say, okay, they're working this many hours. And, yeah.
So you are validating with the doctor that the student says the student has reported this many hours. Is that true?
Yes.
The doctor has to say yes or no.
Yes. Worst
And
part.
you do that. You have to follow up with that manually and kind of check
Yes.
off all those hours line by line in all of the spreadsheets.
Help me
Wow.
with that,
Okay,
seriously.
all right,
That
okay.
is my main, it takes hours
And
to
what's
do
the
that.
reason for that? Like, what's the reason for that requirement? Is it because the accrediting body has to have
Yes.
you check that?
They have to have proof.
They have to have proof that the hours were completed. Mm-hmm. That's pay dirt right there. I mean, we really have struck gold. But potentially, right? We won't really know that we struck gold until we can actually go in and say, here's the app that does this. It allows the student to go in and clock in at the dental practice, and then it allows the dental practice manager, whoever that is, to say, yes, that student worked these hours. If we can find some way to solve that pain point of having to follow up on all these spreadsheets and all these signatures that Chandra has to gather, then we may be on the right track. That means that our customer jobs need to be updated according to what we learned in these interviews. So for example, we need to add a job for tracking the completion of internship hours. And also we need to provide some kind of accreditation compliance proof. So we need to lighten the burden on the college of gathering and maintaining the proof that they need in order to continue their accreditation with this national accrediting body. And that becomes a larger pain point. It's not just about the hours worked at the experience site. It's not just about how many hours the student has worked at the dental practice. It's about all of the requirements. So the college has to maintain certain standards for the state so they can obtain state funding, and also they have to maintain certain standards for the accreditation body. So you get to the end of the cycle and you just push a button and it says, okay, for the state of Utah, we've completed all these requirements because all of this proof is already documented. For the accreditation body, all of this proof is also already documented. We're good to go. Here you are. Everything is in order. That then becomes the gain creator, the pain reliever, and the compelling value proposition for the technical college user type for our app. So now let's go and update the value proposition side of the value proposition canvas. So our value proposition now is, we have a tool that helps tech ed instructors and administrators by removing the burden of work practice administration and regulatory compliance. This product enables the tracking of students' pass-offs of program skills. It provides reporting and visibility into student skill progress. It stores and tracks completion of key documents, like, for example, the site information form. It automatically gathers employer electronic signatures on hours worked. It automatically generates compliance proof for state funding and accrediting body requirements. And it gives instructors more time to focus on students. It does those things by eliminating time preparing for state and accrediting body audits. It eliminates time following up with employers on hours their interns worked. It eliminates the need for a paper file on each student, and it dramatically reduces administrative time spent tracking the progress of each student. Now that we've gathered enough validation on what we're doing with this application, what we want to do is now create the user story map, the customer journey map. We want to start creating some wireframes and get into the UX design. Because what we're going to do is we're going to take those designs back into the college and say, We're building an application that does this. Is this a need? Join us again. Videos are published every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 12 noon Mountain Time.